Hello, everyone. My name is Diana Serban, and it has been 25 days since my iboga ceremony with Makonza. I am reading from some notes because there's a lot to cover, and I really want to make this very short and sweet, but informative. So, I turned 39 years young on March 4th. And I've been telling myself for a long time that as I approach 40, I do not want to smoke or drink anything acidic on a regular basis. I am educated on health and wellness on a cellular level. So I have my reasoning, and I personally just don't think it's a good idea to drink acidic things on a regular basis and to smoke anything. Um, so I wanted to get a head start on this. I didn't want to wait till I was 40 to try to quit because it's unrealistic to do that. So before my ceremony, I was not 100% sure what to expect. But one thing I was sure on is that I would wake up from this experience and just have the power to never smoke weed again. Um, I also had hopes for other victories, which are the positive effects that iboga has on the brain. And so prior to my ceremony, I had been smoking weed for about 23 years. And I actually really enjoyed smoking weed. I loved smoking weed and I didn't want to stop. I loved Kush and Diesel. And sometimes when I would leave the house, I would feel very uncomfortable or uneasy if I was not going to have weed on me. So I usually always had a couple of joints on me because that's what I loved and that's what I enjoyed. And I just didn't want to stop. For example, 4 months ago, I quit drinking alcohol, but I've been quitting alcohol for a very long time. That's a whole other story. But I realized that when you truly hate something and you truly just don't want it as a part of your life anymore, you can stop. But again, like I said, the last few years, I haven't been drinking alcohol every day, whereas I smoked weed every single day. So it's definitely a different animal when you're doing something on a daily basis versus when you're not. And so like I said, I found quitting weed very difficult because I didn't want to do it. And I think when you want to quit something, like when you actually don't want to do something anymore, it's much easier to stop versus when you actually like something or you're using it to self medicate or cope or whatever the case may be. So, before my iboga ceremony, I've also been dependent on melatonin for a good 8 years. And I didn't have an addiction to melatonin. I had a dependency on it. And this is from like stress, drama, trauma, childhood crap, just a buildup of a lot. So for a very long time, I just couldn't fall asleep, even though I could lay there for hours. And I decided to start taking melatonin because, in my opinion, it's better to sleep than not to sleep. So I asked my shaman, do you think that if I do this iboga, that it would help my natural production of melatonin? And he's like, I don't know for certain, but there's a very high possibility of that because iboga resets your brain and it promotes the growth of new neurons. And it enhances neuroplasticity in your brain, which is the brain's ability to recognize and form new neural connections. So that's exactly what it did for me, which I think is a miracle. It's phenomenal. It's nothing short of phenomenal. So today, I'm very proud to say that I no longer smoke weed and I'm no longer dependent on melatonin. I can get anywhere from 5 to 8 hours of sleep. I wake up to go pee, which is my bladder just screwing me over, but I can fall back asleep. If I lay there for a bit, I can fall back asleep for an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. And it is, I think it's a miracle. So I also stay away from stimulants. I don't drink coffee anymore. I don't drink caffeinated tea. I don't take any pre-workouts. I don't have added sugar. I also don't have a sweet tooth. And I no longer have food cravings. Iboga takes away whatever cravings that you have. And smoking weed, I would munch out and eat things more than I should have or more on a regular basis. It's not that I ate junk food because I have a typically healthy diet. It's more so that I was munching out and eating too much too often. Avocado is good for you, but it's still fattening. I can eat avocado toast all day. I loved it. So I think iboga is truly a phenomenal spiritual plant that reconnects souls back to source and back to love. I believe more in God now than I ever did in my life. And so if you ask yourself, what is the opposite of addiction? The opposite of addiction is connection. And that is exactly what iboga does for you. It reconnects you back to source and back to love. If you notice a lot of addicts, they lack deep connections. I mean, I just smoked weed. I have phenomenal connections in my life, but I still had an addiction to smoking weed because I used it to cope and to self-medicate for so long. I actually used weed to get off of alcohol, right? And that was like years ago. So it reconnects you back to source and it gives you another chance at life, your natural life. So I've personally and truthfully never been more thankful for anything or anyone in my life other than my mother, because I don't have children or a husband. So I can really truly say that I am most thankful for my shaman, Makonza, also known as Luis MAKONZA De Silva, who is one of the most incredible and real and raw and safe humans that I've ever known. He is very faithful to the BWITI tradition, and that's what made me feel so safe, is because he takes it very seriously. And he's a gift from God. He's kind of an angel, if you will. And I highly recommend iboga to anybody who needs to heal, whether it's from cocaine, crack, food addictions, weed, cigarettes, heroin. Did I say heroin? With alcohol, you do need to be careful because people who have a dependency on alcohol, I mean, if you just stop cold turkey and you're a person who can die from that, you have to take iboga with structure. You need somebody to help you understand how to wean yourself off of it, because if your cravings are gone, but your body's still addicted to it, you just need to be careful. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying always make sure you get it from a real source and a real shaman and you have real support. Don't believe what you see on the internet. If you're going to research iboga, please just go ask ChatGPT, what is iboga? Where does it come from? How can iboga heal the brain? How does iboga heal addiction? And you will find some of the most profound answers there. But there's a lot of lies and stories on the internet about iboga, and I can tell you myself that it is not scary, and I would never call it dangerous either. So if anybody has any questions or you would like my story in more detail, please do just let me know. I was trying to keep this short and sweet. Thank you for listening, and I wish you all the best happiness, health, and wealth.